As Cain wandered without a clear destination in mind, fate intervened, and he crossed paths with Dame, the esteemed vice-captain of the Knights. After exchanging pleasantries, Cain divulged that Magna, the Prime Minister, had commissioned him to sell a monstrous beast for its valuable materials. Dame quickly ruminated on a suitable location and led Cain to a nearby warehouse, but Cain remained unconvinced, believing that the space would be insufficient for the task at hand. Dame was taken aback by Cain's misgivings, presuming that the materials extracted from the creature were as valuable as those found in the legendary red dragon. Cain corrected him, revealing that the creature in question was an earth dragon. Despite the clarification, Dame remained shocked by the news, as earth dragons were known to be high-level monsters. Cain added that the beast was also of gargantuan proportions, causing Dame to gasp and immediately search for an open area to conduct their business. As Cain began to release the monsters, Dame's expression was one of utter bewilderment. Finally, when the corpses of the creatures lay before him, he was left speechless. As the monsters lay lifeless before them, Cain implored Dame to take them all. Dame was astounded that Cain had defeated the beasts single-handedly, wondering just who he really was. The question on Dame's mind was so intriguing that he blurted out whether Cain was an apostle of God. Cain visibly flinched at the suggestion but quickly denied it. Sensing Cain's discomfort, Dame decided not to pry, opting instead to take time to assess the monsters. As Cain began to leave, Dame invited him to join their training and meet their commander, who loved to meet strong individuals like him. Pressuring Cain into accepting, Dame led him to the Knights' training grounds, where he introduced Cain to the squad. Cain asked for the commander's whereabouts, and Dame explained that he would appear when the battle began. Cain imagined the commander to be a fearsome creature, but Dame just laughed off his fears. When the mock battle commenced, the Knights were initially hesitant as they perceived Cain to be just a kid. However, Dame winked at Cain and urged him to try the mock battle. With a sudden burst of power, Cain's figure vanished, and he charged at the man with lightning speed, instantly shattering his wooden sword. The man surrendered in defeat, stunned by Cain's skill. Despite his victory, Cain tried to leave, but Dame stopped him once again, asking him to engage in a mock battle with all of them. Fast forward to the present, the Imperial Guards were now grouping up to defeat Cain. All of a sudden, Cain heard a woman's voice, causing him to look up. His eyes fell upon a woman, who was jumping towards them. She landed in front of him and immediately scolded the Knights for picking on a child. The woman kneeled down, embracing Cain while comforting him. As she hugged him, Cain noticed her pointed elf ears. The woman turned her attention to Dame, scolding him for not stopping the battle. Dame addressed her as the commander and revealed that Cain is the hero who defeated 30 orc and saved the 2 princesses. He introduced Cain as a hero, which surprised the commander. Her expression changed, and a smile appeared on her face. Cain felt confused as the commander's aura turned aggressive. She was thrilled to discover that Cain was strong and drew her sword, challenging him to a duel. Cain felt troubled as he was not prepared for a battle, but the commander didn't see it as a problem and immediately attacked. Before the duel began, Dame requested the commander to introduce herself, but she refused, stating that those who fight with a sword speak with their swords. The Knights left, mentioning that the commander has the title of Sword Master, but Cain overheard their conversation. The two of them continued their intense battle, exchanging blows and impressing the onlookers with their skills. The commander, fueled by excitement, maintained a distance from Cain and used magic to boost herself. However, Cain was able to keep up, using the wall to collide his slash with the commander's attack. This continued as they charged toward each other, their attacks colliding with great force. The Knights were astonished that Cain was able to match the commander's skill. As the battle continued, Cain cast an enhancement spell, increasing his physical abilities. He then dashed towards the commander with incredible speed, confusing her as he suddenly appeared behind her. She quickly turned to face him but found Cain pointing his sword at her, signaling his victory. The commander's eyes trembled as she made a sudden decision to marry Cain. The Knights and Cain were taken aback by the commander's sudden proposal. Cain explained that he was just a 10-year-old boy and didn't even know her name. The commander then introduced herself as Tijuana, a viscount and the daughter of Duke Liebert. She reassured Cain that their age difference wouldn't be an issue since she had a lifespan of 300 years and her appearance would hardly change. Cain thought that she was missing the point and was only boasting about her beauty. Cain sought refuge behind Dime and told Tijuana that he couldn't possibly marry without permission. Tijuana brushed it off and said that obtaining permission wouldn't be a problem. Cain realized that her family and fiancés would definitely disapprove of the marriage. He asked Dime for help, but the latter pretended to be asleep. Tijuana agreed with Cain's concerns but insisted on arranging a meeting with the king. Cain's heart raced with anxiety, fearing that his situation would worsen. But Dime took him away to meet the king, where Garm and Magna were already present. The king seemed perplexed, as he thought he was in the warehouse. Suddenly, Tijuana stood up and announced her intention to marry Cain. The king, Garm, and Magna were all taken aback and demanded an explanation. Cain recounted the entire story, and the king inquired if he had mentioned his fiancés. Cain replied that he had not, as it was not yet public knowledge. Garm confirmed whether Cain knew about Tijuana's position, but Cain stated that he only knew her as the captain of the knights. The king then revealed that Tijuana was a princess from a country that was once a territory of the Esfort kingdom. The country was home to elves whose beauty led to them being kidnapped and enslaved. With the assistance of the first king, Uya, race discrimination in the kingdom was eradicated. The elves' territory became an independent kingdom, and Tijuana became their princess. The king then disclosed to Tijuana that Cain was already engaged to Telstra and Silk. Despair was etched on Tijuana's face, and she trembled with rage. The king believed that she understood the situation, but she only became more determined to marry Cain. This troubled Garm and the king. The king advised Tijuana to write a letter to her father Layson asking for his permission for their marriage. Tijuana agreed and was ready to leave, but she wanted Cain to come with her to the training ground to strengthen their love, so she pulled him along. The king was amazed that Cain had defeated the strongest knight in the country and wondered how he had so much strength. He asked Garm, but he didn't know. Then Diam pointed out that Cain reacted strangely when asked if he was a god apostle. The king found it strange too. Magna suggested showing Cain a mysterious book to try to figure out his extraordinary power. Later, Cain was walking tiredly when Diam called him. He said that Tijuana fights with him every day and she won't stop until he's completely exhausted. As they were conversing, Cain confides that he had gained the prestigious Sword Saint title. Just then, Cain overhears Tijuana's voice and rushes off, but Diane drags him to the king's chamber. Once inside, Cain inquires about the purpose of the meeting. The king urges Magna to present the emperor-level magic book, which he reveals was written by the first king. Cain expresses his desire to read it, and the king grants him permission. As he peruses the tome, Cain stumbles upon some potent magical incantations. Suddenly, the king grows solemn and confesses that no one can decipher the contents of the book. Cain glances at the text and is taken aback by the Japanese characters, realizing that the first king, named Yuya, was a Japanese man reincarnated in this world. The king demands that Cain reveal his true identity. Although frightened of losing everything, Cain decides to place his trust in them. Garm watches on in silence as Cain pleads with them to keep his secret, as he will have to leave the country if exposed. He admits to having memories of his past life, and reveals that he hails from the same country as the first king, known as Japan. This revelation shocks them all, and Cain apologizes for keeping it hidden. Garm then asks if Cain is truly his son, to which Cain affirms that the gods told him so. They are astounded that he has met the gods, and Cain recounts his encounter during his baptism. He adds that he meets all 7 of them whenever he goes to the church. The king is left flabbergasted. Suddenly, Garm requests Cain to show them his status. Cain could no longer keep his status a secret, feeling embarrassed. As they read the contents of the book, they were all astounded to find out that he was the reincarnated of God's chosen, with all his stats at level 10 bestowed by all the gods. The king was rendered speechless and exclaimed that the whole world should bow down to Cain. However, Cain protested against such an idea. Cain then reminisced about his previous life where he was all alone, but now felt blessed with memories of his family, his first battles with monsters, his encounter with Tails, Silk, and the royal family, as well as the honor bestowed upon him by the king. With a sense of satisfaction, Cain thanked Garm for being his father and apologized for keeping his secret. He requested that they treat him the same as before, and the king graciously understood. However, the king suddenly teased Cain about becoming a king himself, a notion that left Cain dumbfounded and others thinking it was inappropriate. In an unexpected turn of events, Tijuana bursts into the room with a letter from her father granting approval for their marriage. As she proudly displays the paper, it becomes clear that it's not just a letter but a bona fide marriage certificate. Tijuana can't help but get swept up in visions of their future together and pulls Cain close. Eric chuckles, reassuring the king that Cain appears to be his usual self. While Cain and Tijuana train outside, the 3 companions share a warm smile. The king cautions them not to reveal Cain's secret to anyone, not even their families. With a heavy heart, the king departs, entrusting Cain with the sacred duty of protecting the kingdom, his loved ones, and all the citizens in their time of need. But even in the midst of training, Cain's immense power proves to be a double-edged sword as he accidentally delivers a powerful blow to Tijuana. Subsequently, Telestia and Silk feel furious with Cain, demanding an explanation on how he ended up with Tijuana. Cain apologizes and explains that he defeated her in battle, after which she asked him to marry her. Despite his explanation, they remain angry. Silk jokes about how many more girls Cain will get engaged to before reaching adulthood, finding the situation amusing. However, Telestia is not pleased and asks Cain to stop accepting any more fiancés. Unexpectedly, Tijuana appears and urges Cain to make love to her, causing Telestia and Silk to misunderstand the situation. Cain tries to explain that it was just a mock battle training, but Tijuana drags Cain away. This brings an end to our episode. If you enjoyed it then, don't forget to subscribe our channel, aniexplainer.